episode 7 is out of the way now. I say that like it was a chore. It wasn't a chore. This episode was awesome. I really like this episode, and I think it's because it's coming down to the wire now. The storyline is coalescing into something that's getting ready to build to a climax, and I just hope that when the season ends, it's not going to be a cliffhanger. The downside to this episode was it was short. It was shorter than the other episodes have been. The others were about an hour, give or take a minute or so. This one was about 47 minutes, so less than 50 minutes. I mean, in fact, when it ended, it ended on a cliffhanger. And when it ended, I literally said out loud, "Oh, goodness," because it was done. And I wanted more, because I have come to expect more. And so anyway, so only one more episode go. Oh my gosh, it's late again, you guys. I'm sorry. Only one more episode to go. And it's like I want to see it, but I don't want to see it, because after this is going to be over and we have to wait at least a year before the next season comes. Oh, exciting news. Well, I hope it's news. I'm not sure if it's been confirmed. I read something in passing about that reportedly a third season either is being ordered or has been ordered. So Netflix is apparently feeling pretty good about this series and its ability to keep up, keep the fan base, keep, momentum, keep interest in this thing. I read an article, or not read an article, just saw a headline in passing. I do that even though I preach against it. But with regard to, like entertainment news, it's not quite that, entertainment news is pretty basic. So-and-so has been cast. You don't really need to read the headlines to get the full story. But anyway, I read a headline that the showrunner said that I'm paraphrasing you guys, something about how that she felt like she had enough material to go for about 7 or 8 seasons, which is good news, especially if they can keep the writing pretty good. Now, I do feel like this first season has had its flaws, and I've already listed those, but in my opinion, they haven't been to the level of making me not like the show or making me want to give the show a negative review, at all. I really don't. Some of my gripes have just come from the fact that I was unaware what was up when I went into it, not just story-wise, but also the way they were, the way they constructed the story with all of the differing timelines. So speaking of timelines, things are coming together now. This episode was kind of like a full circle episode. That's what it reminded me of. That's what I kept thinking of when I was watching it, because we started to see what was going on with The Witcher at the same time, like shortly before and also during the events of the first episode when Sintra came under attack and the queen was injured. She sent her granddaughter off. But what we didn't know was at that time the Witcher was behind bars, imprisoned by the queen, because he came to fulfill the law of surprise, or to, claim the law of surprise, or whatever the language is you say when they invoke the law of surprise, or he's coming to collect on it. He wants to protect the granddaughter, Cirilla. And I think that's because of the conversation he had with Yennefer in the previous episode. I believe it was Yennefer who got on his case about the fact that he abandoned this child that was, that was bound to him because of the law of surprise. So he goes there, he starts to feel like, or he becomes aware of the fact that she is possibly in danger. He can tell that an invasion force is coming for Sintra, and he goes there to take the child away, to protect her. Well, the queen just will have none of that. She doesn't want to honor the law of surprise this time around, so she tries to fool him by introducing a fake Cirilla to him. He buys into it at first, but then he realizes it's not the real deal, And so he goes back and confronts the queen. She imprisons him. So when the attack happens, little do we know in the very first episode, but the Witcher is there. He's just imprisoned in the dungeon. So he manages to get out. The queen, well, what happened is the queen, when things were happening and she realized the seriousness, then she was like, said to, I think it was Mousak, she said to like, go get the Witcher, you know, we need him now. But by the time Mousak got down there, or whoever went looking for him, I think it was Mousak, the Witcher had escaped already. So it was like, so now, you know, Cirilla has no protector, which of course we knew that at the, well, I mean, we knew she needed to go find her protector in the first episode, but we did not know her protector had been right there, and he just slipped right through their fingers because the queen had not handled things properly. So this episode was very well written, in my opinion. I was so happy with it. I even wrote in big letters, nice, large caps on my notepad here. I was really into this one. I was fascinated just watching how they were bringing everything into place, and I really loved that. This is probably one of my favorite episodes so far. Well, right now it is my favorite one so far, and not sure how it. I'm not sure if I really can have too many like favorites with regard to the other episodes. But this one really stands out to me. I have no real complaints at all about the way this one was done. So I also like little touches that they did in the writing. So it shows a scene of Cirilla when she's on the run and she had stolen a horse, because it's also jumped from what happened in episode 1 to now Cirilla on her own. And she's with this horse and she's talking to the horse and she says something like, what kind of crazy person talks to a horse? Well, of course, the Witcher has been doing that the whole show. So I thought that was kind of funny. I like that little touch. That was cute. And what else? Triss. The character of Triss. I think that's her name. She was the one that was in the episode with the, was it called a Selkie? The one where the child was a monster and the Witcher was one of the mages or sorceresses or whatever she is, one of Yennefer's classmates. But at the time I did not recognize that was her. If it showed her in a previous episode, it went right on over my head, because the only time I paid attention to her or noticed her in the story was that episode with that creature that the Witcher had to trap or fight until sunup or something like that. So I am really feeling like a second viewing is definitely in order, you guys, because there are all these characters, you know, the first few episodes, and I'm a little bit lost because of the shifting timeline when they go back and show, you know, like the perspectives or who they're following at this point in time, and it's such a different timeline. And then there's all these people, these different people that were in the place where Yennefer was training, and they're showing up in other places. And so it's like I'm recognizing them people now, but it's just now starting to click with me. Oh, that's one of her classmates. Oh, that's also one of her classmates. And so I just want to go back and rewatch it again, just because I liked it enough and I want to get it solidified more in my head. And I feel like when the second season comes around, I will probably end up watching it a third time. Hopefully I'll have time. Unless they do something like a recap sort of thing. Maybe they'll do something like that. If they do, I might just only settle for that, because I don't think I'm going to want to waste too much time before I jump into the next season as soon as it's available. And already I'm missing season 1, even though I'm not done with it yet. And I'm looking forward to more of The Witcher, but looking forward also to getting into the books. Definitely am going to be doing that as soon as I can. So, and I'm going to have to check and see what's the right order to read it in. I think there were some short stories written first, and then there were some full-length novels. So, yeah. Oh, and speaking of the books, well, the author, I saw also another headline in passing how that it said he was very pleased or happy or whatever, I'm paraphrasing, with Henry Cavill's performance in here, and I have to agree. I'm super impressed with his performance. The dude is humongozoid, you guys. Sometimes he almost looks too big, to be honest, and I think some of that might be the outfit he's wearing, his Witcher outfit, and it's got these big, shoulder things on the top, and he's so, he's just built. He's massive, and he's standing there. He's so big, his hands are out, his arms are hanging out to the side, like what happens when someone is into bodybuilding and their lats are so big, their shoulders and arms are so big, it just their arms kind of hang out to the side. Sometimes it looks like they're just posturing, to show how big and cool they are, but sometimes they really literally cannot let their hands hang down straight by their sides because their muscles just won't let them. They're too big. And I know this for a fact because I have a brother who's into bodybuilding, and he looks very similar to Arnold Schwarzenegger in the face, and he's not quite as tall as Arnold, but he's big. He's real big. I don't know Henry Cavill's, measurements and everything, but my brother might be very similar to him in body size. Cavill might be a little taller. I don't know. Anyway, that was a tangent. But yeah, there are definitely some times where he looks like he's just a tad too big. Like his head looks a little bit small for his body. I noticed that in one of the scenes today, and I kind of almost snickered because it was like, oh, it reminded me of how my brother has looked sometimes when he's at his biggest. Anyway, okay, yeah, tangent, sorry. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on this episode. I can't think of anything negative to say. I felt like I was quite negative about the previous episode. I didn't really feel... I liked that other episode. I liked it. I've liked all the episodes. But there were just these little things that really popped out at me as I was watching it. So that's, I was writing it down and noting it, and, things that kind of got under my skin. There was really nothing like that happened in this one. We see a little bit of Yennefer. She's gone back to that guy's name. It was just showing. Is his name Istrid? Am I saying it right? Yennefer has gone back to him. She wants him to take her back. She wants to have the life with him that they had thought about, or that he had, sort of held in front of her as, oh, let's go do this, we'll be together. And she just didn't want that because she wanted something more exciting and more glamorous, And it seems like, unless she's being devious, but I don't think she is here. I really don't think she is. I think she has come to the point where she is so disillusioned with her life and the things that she thought were going to matter to her. Her looks. She didn't want to be deformed anymore. She wanted this and this. And she is starting to evolve, as a character and become just more focused on things that actually do matter at their core, because ultimately in the end, the stuff that she wanted, the stuff that she was after, that's not what's most important. And she seems to be realizing that now. Of course, when she goes to him, he's moved on. It took him a while to get over her emotionally when she wanted to go off and do her thing, but now it's too late for her. He doesn't want her back. And so she's gone back to the place where she studied. I can't remember the name of that place. I think it starts with an A. The place where she learned to do the things that she does. And all the mages there, or in that group, they had been debating whether or not to come to Centra's aid. And Yennefer being as disillusioned as she is with that time of her life and what she's become up to this point, she was quite hostile toward the girl that bought her, and I can't remember her name. She's got a name that starts with a T too, Tessia or something. Anyway, so I'm curious to find out what's going to happen with that in the next episode. I don't know how long the next episode is, but I hope it's quite a bit longer than an hour. It feels like there is so much they need to write. I mean, it's been written. I don't know why I said that, but it feels like there's so much that needs to happen, and I am just dreading what I fear is going to happen, which is a cliffhanger. Oh, I hate cliffhangers. Anyway, I understand their role, but I hate them, especially if you have no guarantee that a show's going to come back for another season. Well, we know this one's going to, but still, we have to wait a whole dang year for things to get resolved. But I guess I'll find out. I will know more by tomorrow this time, when I'm recording my very last review video for The Witcher. And, okay. Can't think of anything else to add to this. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm about to choke, sorry. I'm going to wrap this up for tonight, you guys. Bye.